Hi, friends. Hello, the world. Welcome back to this episode of Complaint Free Life. And I am excited to talk to you today about this very, very important topic that I feel like I've been hearing it a lot, but I never really paid attention to how this was coming up until recently. And the topic is one or the other thinking or belief, I should say, one or the other. So, oftentimes, many humanitarians that I have spoken to, and recently also in one of my favorite platforms for humanitarians, which is Humanitarian Women's Network, I've seen and I've participated also in the discussion on how to have career and romance or love relationship, the intimate relationship or the family, right? So how to have both and not to be choosing one or the other. And this is the topic that I want to address because I feel like this type of thinking of we cannot have all the things we want, but rather we can only have one or the other I believe, is stopping us from getting to where we want or living our lives the way we want to. So, this is a topic that I want to address. And stay tuned because it's going to be very granular because I feel like this is the only way we can solve it. So I'm going to be speaking about the what the problem actually is, what the solution we people believe the solution are, which may not really be the solution, and then what can be done about it, what solutions I offer. So I offer two specific solutions that you can use as of now, and the process of how to get it so you can get the result you want, which is having the career and the romance, or having uh, what you love doing and having other things as well, whatever the situation you are in, right? So let's start by the problem statement, as humanitarians would like to call it. So the problem that I see, and it might also be a problem that many of the women experience or women believe to be having, and I've heard it a lot from women, but I also heard it from several male humanitarian colleagues who also said they're struggling with this belief of I cannot have it all. I can only have, um, for instance, they were saying that I can only have uh, a great job back home, for instance, or a great job, but it's not as well paid as the one. So no, their thinking was that I can have a great job, uh, but it's not in the place I want to. But the job that I want to, so the job that I can get back where I'm going, it's not really what I want to do, but it's well paid, right? So it's again coming back to this thinking of I can't have it all thinking. So I have noticed this to be true to with people that I was speaking. So for women, I've often heard this I cannot have a career and romance at the same time, or in places where I work. It's I don't really meet people that I'm looking for, or in the male colleagues that I have heard, they were saying that I want to be settling here or I want to be transitioning here, but I can't really find the job that I love doing, even though it's well paid. And I can only find a job there, but I don't really want to be settling there. So, this type of dilemmas that I heard. So, the downline, the uh, the bottom line, I guess, the bottom line problem that people seem to be facing is it can only be this or that. It can't be both, right? Because we believe that it's not possible to have it both. We believe that this is how life is supposed to be. We believe that having both is difficult, right? Maybe this is also another set of thoughts, is that we believe that if we can have it both, like romance and family, a career, it will be too hard to manage them both, or no one is doing it, or even if people are doing it, it's exception. They can do it, I cannot do it, right? So because of these thinkings that we are not actually pursuing, and even if we are pursuing, let's say that I have seen some comments in that group where they were saying that I can only meet the people I want in a particular place because this is where I know that I could meet, but where I am currently, I can't really meet those people, right? So you can see that even if we are going after what we want, or we're trying to have it both, we are still coming from that belief that, well, I can only meet these people here in this particular location, or I can only meet, I can only have a career, and I can't really have family there. And then therefore we stop, or we limit ourselves, or we just keep believing in this cycle of this is not possible. Okay, I hope I depicted you the problem. Now, obviously, I also want to say that this may not be a problem for many people because they don't consider having both is what they really want, right? So many people may also say that I just want this and I'm happy with that, or I just want that and I'm happy with that as well. So if you are that person, this may not be for you. So now the solution is, as I already talked about a bit, is that solution that I hear many people believe the solution is the actions, right? So the action solution, where we just believe that if we only transfer to the headquarter position or the family jurisdiction position, then I can have my career going and my family, or start a family. If you already have a family, and if you're already have family and children, maybe this is a perfect solution for you. So I'm not discussing that. But if you're someone who's believing that I can only start a family once I'm in this particular location, or vice versa, that you are in a relationship, but you're believing that you can only have a career if you go to that particular location, then again, the thinking, the belief is continuing to govern you while you're trying to action your way, or trying to change that with your actions, which may not always work. So that's why I have also been speaking to people who have gone to where I have spoken to mostly humanitarians who are working already, who decided that they can only meet the person they are trying to meet back in their homeland, because that's what they know from before. So they go back and then they get frustrated that they can't find, and then they just confirm their belief that, you see, it's not working, or you see, excuse me, I was right that I was right that I cannot have it both, right? So we keep confirming because the belief is sitting very strong in our minds that we, no matter how many actions we take, it may not really yield the result, because we're still believing that it can only happen this way or that way. If it's not that way and this way, then it's not happening. And then therefore we are likely to prove our belief to be true rather than making any change. So that solution may not work. That's why the solution that I have seen work, and I have seen in my own life work, is the solution of changing the belief. changing the belief and trusting yourself that you can make it work, right? So the changing the belief, now we will talk about the process of how that could work for you, right? So changing the belief, we actually often may even believe that it's not possible to change a belief. So if that's where you're starting, then start questioning that, right? But I'm going to be talking here more about people who are like, okay, I can change my belief. How can I do that? I want to talk to those people to say that let's start by questioning it. Every belief, no matter what the belief is, starts with questioning, right? So questioning as to why you believe that to be true. What if it's not true? How you might be already limiting yourself, and what are the ways that you could stop limiting yourself? So these could be some of the questions that you could ask yourself, essentially poking a hole in that belief to say why this way is true and not the other way. When you start doing that, your brain will be coming up with lots of answers, obviously, because that's what we're doing. We're poking the hole in the belief, right? If you're someone who is thinking that, well, it's not possible to change a belief, then we need to start questioning that belief of why you believe that to be true. So when you ask yourself why you believe that you can only have one or the other, see what comes up for you. So the people that I have been speaking to and my clients as well, some of them had this belief as well. The answers that I have heard is that this is how it has always been this way, or this is how my past had been. I have never seen the evidence for the contrary. Or I have seen some evidence where people had both, but they were extraordinary, or they started their career before they started their career after having a family, or whatever the explanation we give to dismiss that evidence. So therefore, I'm just sticking to my guns is what would probably come up. And this is what I heard from my clients. So if those the explanations that you're having, then ask yourself again, why do we believe that whatever the past has shown us is how our future is going to be, right? So why are we letting the past dictate our future? And this is also another perfect example as to if we were believing all this time a one particular belief, obviously our past would show that. So whatever the belief we were believing is obviously how the past would show to us that we are just confirming whatever we believe. So therefore, now if we change our belief system in this particular instance, then obviously the future will be different because we are changing the belief on purpose. So that's why once you start asking these questions of what if it was possible to have it both, how would that look like? How would you be able to make that work? Right? So now we're going to your self-concept of a person who can have it both. This is where trust becomes so important, because if we don't trust ourselves that we're someone who can make this work, then all of this becomes like an intellectual, philosophical conversation. So if we say that, yeah, this is possible in the world, this is possible here and there, without relating it to us, then it becomes like what we learned in university. Yeah, it is useful to know, but if we're not using it, it's going to be a theoretical, right? So that's why whatever we're changing in our belief system, now we need to bring it back to us and say, how can I be that person who makes things work? How can I be that person who has both, who makes both work? Right? So when you are saying that, there might be your brain's old patterns start saying things like, well, you can't really have it all. When have you seen it? One has to be suffering somewhere, right? So there will be a lot of these things coming up. And it's good that they're coming up because we want to look at them and then question them equally, right? You question them equally because it all comes down to our brain will be trying to convince us that whatever we believe to be true is the truth, because it's difficult, or for our brains, it might be creating a dissonance of changing things, because whenever we change the belief, our brains get very uncomfortable and it wants to pull us to what it knows best, right? So that's why whatever those beliefs, other beliefs that are happening or coming up, we want to look at them, we want to see what they are, and then we question them equally. And our brains start then, not in one day maybe, but in several days or whatever the period it takes for us to start dismantling that belief. Then we need to have the trust in ourselves to start feeding that belief system with new belief, right? So we need to, after questioning it, after starting to dismantle it, we need to feed the new belief system. The new belief system of, it is possible, I'm the person who can make this work. Now, this is all happening now so far in our mind, right? What we need to do now is, in order for our brain start believing that this could be true, the new belief could be true, we need to start little by little acting on it, meaning showing the evidence of how this might be true. Right? Not by changing the location outside, not by changing the circumstances or the workplace or the family or whatever it is, but we want to start acting from that new belief in the place where we are now, in the workplace or in the relationship where we are. And then, for instance, if you're someone who's looking for romance in addition to your career, then you are not changing the workplace, you're not changing the location, you're starting to act from that new belief of you being able to make this happen, you believing that both is possible, and start connecting with people where you are now, start getting curious about how it could be true where you are now, and start acting there. Equally, if you are someone who is in a relationship or has a family and wanting to have a career, and you're believing that career is not possible for you because you chose the family, then wherever you are, without changing the external circumstances, start exploring and finding ways to see how you can have the career there where you are, and start applying for it, or start networking with people out of the belief that it's possible, and out of the belief that you are someone who can make this work, and start searching for new evidence of how it could be possible. Right? So you have seen that we have questioned the belief, dismantled the belief, and started feeding the new belief. Now, when you are doing that and you are in this process, there will be times you will check with yourself how much your belief is getting stronger with the new belief, or how much of the old belief is continuing to exist or hold you. You can check this, which way you're going, you can check it by looking at these indicators. So one of the indicators of the old belief still holding its castle, or holding its what's the word I'm looking for, continuing to be strong. One of the ways that you know that the old belief continues to be strong is by noticing within yourself that you will be wanting the evidence to be now. For instance, you will be wanting the evidence of having a relationship already now, or having the desirable job you want now. So you will be in this place of, I have done already so much, or I have done already so much work, why it's not happening, right? So it's a bit like a desperate energy, or this graspy attached energy. If you are in that energy and you're saying that, I have done everything, it's still not working, how is that possible? Then you're probably in the old belief system still. If you are acting from a new belief system, then the way you will know is you let the grip go, right? So you're no longer this gripping of, I have to have it all. I know it's gonna work. How can I make it work? This very like happen energy. So if you don't have it, if you are like very relaxed and you're trusting, what you're doing, you're trusting how you're doing it, you're trusting yourself for doing it. When you are in that energy, you know that the new belief is working, because you know that you can make both work, right? So it needs to be effortless, so to say. It feels like it's natural. It feels like it just magically happened, or whatever the ease energy you will be in, or the feeling you will be in. That's when you know that you have landed in the new belief, where you believe both is possible, right? Because whenever the new belief settles, if it's smooth and you don't even notice that you're believing this, and you just act from it, that's, when you have landed it. And the biggest indicator, obviously, for how your belief actually is working is when you receive the results you want. Meaning when you have both, when you have the career and the relationship or the family, or when you have the great well-paying job in the place you want to, whatever that is, right? Now, this is the process to get to changing your belief from one or the other to having it both. Now, when you heard me describe this process, you might be asking yourself, well, it's hard. It seems hard, or it seems very intangible. It seems something that I'm not be able to do. If your brain is coming up with these type of questions, again, ask yourself, is this really hard, or you're just not wanting to change your belief because your belief is so strong that it's not even letting you go and trying something else? Because the alternative is we will be staying in hardship of constantly asking ourselves why it doesn't work for us, or why it's only this or the other, and continue suffering under that belief. And that's equally hard, or probably even more hard. So if we know the alternative is hard already, why wouldn't we try something else? Right? Why wouldn't we try something else? The solution that I said is solution of trusting ourselves and solution of changing that belief of one or the other to the belief of both. Because that gives you the authority, the agency to be able to change things the way you want to, instead of just believing this is how it is, I can't do anything about it, I just have to suffer through it. And if we continue believing that, then that's what will happen, obviously. So that's why if you are someone who is struggling with one or the other thinking, trust me, I have seen it in my own experience. I have seen in my clients' experience. This works. The changing the belief works. You need to allow yourself to do that. And one last thing is, I know that I have also spoken to colleagues and friends who have very strong religious beliefs, where they believe that God or a divine force determines whether we can have it both or one, right? If you are if you hold these beliefs to be important, if you believe that this is how you operate in the world, then absolutely, this actually can even be easier for you, I would say, than maybe for other people, because you already have a lot of belief in God, a lot of belief maybe in the divine nature, and therefore you can already start believing that those forces will help you create this result. And therefore your job would be to believing that those forces will help you decide, achieve the result. And your job is trusting that forces and start acting from that trust. So you can work with that as well. Because you believing that it's only one or the other possible also may limit the gods, the divine nature's powers to limit. So how can we unleash and unlimit their powers so they can help us achieve the result we want, right? So that's why whatever the belief system you hold, whatever the belief system that you have within us, without the God, without the divine nature of the universe, you can still make this work by changing that belief system that you're holding currently to be true, and by trusting yourself that you can make this work. Okay, my friends, if you want coaching on this, and if you're struggling on this, how to change it, or not knowing whether it's working or not working, and if you want to get coaching on this, please reach out to me and we will coach you. I will coach you to get to the result that you want. And I'm actually I was thinking about this, is how can I promise people, like, give us, you and me, 1 year chance, and within that 1 year I will help you get to that result by simply changing and shifting your mind with your permission, with your own tools, without without changing the external circumstances. I promise you we can get that result for you, to have it both. if you are up for it, please reach out, and I would love to help you get that result that you want so you can have both instead of choosing one or the other. Okay, my dears, have a beautiful weekend. I will be traveling to back home to Italy very soon, actually this weekend. And next time I will be speaking hopefully from Italy. See you then. Thank you. Bye.